reduction in shortage and supply less in the market. If you have to supply, then you will supply less. Supply less mean you are creating a shortage, or you are placing your supply in storage. So everyone understand this word expectation, how it affect the shift in supply curve? Expectation means you see the future and decide now. If you expect the price of the ice cream to be, to rise in future, as a supplier, what will be your action right now? If you already have the production, you will store it. If you are making it, you will increase the production. Why? Because in future, they're going to be increase in price and everybody start making. So I have already, storage. I will sell it into the market and capitalize or make profit from that opportunity. And the fourth one, the last one, is number of supplier, which means if number of supplier rises, what happens? Supply always rises, right? Increase in number of suppliers causes more supply in the market. Price is the same, but all of a sudden you see that there are more brands of ice creams are coming. Why? Because there are now 2 or 3 companies who producing ice cream, right? So we finished our supply discussion here. We talked about how we create supply and how price affects the supply and other variables, which are the price of input prices, expectations, and then we talked about the number of suppliers, and then we talk about technology. They affect the supply curve. All those rules of movement and shift, they are the same. Movement means you don't have to make a new curve, you just move along the curve. Shift means you have to make a new curve. Increase in supply or increase in demand mean both. Shift to the right. Decrease in demand means shift to the left. Decrease in supply means shift to the left. Same concept. So if you understand our discussion, so it's time to check your concept, how you apply those concepts into real world. So this is the practical example here. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes to read that, and then I ask, what is the answer here? So everybody read this. Finished reading? This time I would ask Mimi. Mimi, what is the answer here?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Right now, I don't know.
Okay. How about Dijodi?
I don't know too, sir.
Okay. Is it hard? Jacob.
Yeah. I'll be honest. I don't know either. Sorry.
Okay, let's treat that. We'll do it together. Anyone else who volunteer to answer this question?
Probably
I would say C.
I will go with C also.
I heard A and C. So let's talk about this. For a seller, it means consider yourself you are a seller. So for a seller, which of the following quantities are not positively related? For a seller, the price of the good and the seller's profit. Price and profit, they are related. If the price increases, their profit also increases. This is true. They are positively related, but we are exploring not positively related. The price of the good and the quantity supplied. That is the law of supply. If price increases, quantity supply also increases. Right? Seller's profit and production cost. C. If cost rises, what happened to the profit? Decreases, right? If cost
Yes.
decreases, profit rises. So do you see a negative relationship here? Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So C can be the answer. Let's talk about the D. The seller's profit and quantity supplied. So if quantity supplied, you supply more, the profit is more. That is a positive relationship. The only thing that is odd here is C. So we want to explore a negative relationship or which is not positive related. It is C. Now understand? Everyone, Mimi, Jody?
Yeah, I think.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now answer. No. Let's talk about this summary. We finished the discussion on supply curve. So the summary is that the supply curve shows what happened to quantity supplied of a good when the price changes, keeping all other variables constant. When one variable changes, the supply curve shift. And which are those variables? 4. We talked about. 1 is input prices, 2 the technology, 3 expectation, 4 number of seller. So when price causes the change, we call this movement along the curve, not shift. So if you want to look at the summary of this whole discussion, here it is. The price causes movement, all those variables causes shift in supply curve. Okay, let's take a 15 minutes break and then we continue our discussion. What happened if in a market supplier and buyers meets together or interacts together? What will happen? What is the mechanism from which the sellers, they are willingly to sell the good and the buyers, they are willingly to pay for that good? Okay, so see you after a short break. Okay guys, welcome back after a short break. Let's move further. Okay, now supply and demand together. Let's talk about that. So supply and demand together, let's talk about first the equilibrium. The equilibrium refers to a situation in which the price has reached the level where quantity supplied is equal to quantity demanded, right? So the equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity. So equilibrium, we know that it's a situation where quantity demanded is equal to quantity supplied. So if that happen, we call that quantity equilibrium quantity. So here, the quantity supplied and quantity demanded at the equilibrium price. On the graph, it is the quantity at which the supply and demand curve intersects. So in that case, when supply and demand intersect, which means they are equal at the point, that point on the quantity is called equilibrium quantity, and on that quantity the price is called equilibrium price. So equilibrium price that balances this condition, and on the graph it is the price at which the supply and demand curve intersect with each other. So let's talk about this. So we have a schedule here. So if there is no demand and supply here, you can still find out that which one is the demand schedule and which one is the supply schedule. And how we can find out? Sorry, you see the price and the market or the quantity relationship here. So you see what's going on here. The price is increasing and the quantity, the market quantity, which is the sum of all the individuals quantity here, decreasing. It means this is a demand one. You see the price here, price increasing, and you see the quantity here, quantity also increasing. It means this schedule is supply curve. So So what we call the equilibrium quantity, equilibrium quantity is that quantity on which quantity supplied is equal to quantity demanded, right? And the equilibrium price is that price on which quantity supplied and quantity demanded are equal. So you see something common here, right? This is quantity supplied, this is quantity demanded. They are equal, right? And you see the price, right? So now I can write it down. Quantity, equilibrium quantity is 7. So I'm not segregating that whether this is quantity demanded or quantity supplied. Why? Because this is the quantity demanded and this is the quantity supplied. So I just write it down, quantity equilibrium, right? The price is 2. So that means this is the price of the product on which quantity supplied and quantity demanded are equal. So how we can place these on a graph? Let's just read that. At 2, the quantity demanded is equal to quantity supplied, right? We already explained that. So on a graph, how we can draw this? First, draw supply curve. And supply curve, you notice it is upward sloping, right? And now demand curve. Demand curve